Hello, hello, hello. This is Tamika Seaton, President and CEO of Grow Your Nonprofit, where we help startups, small and stagnant nonprofits grow through fundraising strategies, strategic planning, and so much more. Guys, today you are in for a treat. I have my special guest here, Amy. She's with the McGregor Clinic. She will tell you how the organization and specifically her department started with one person and how it's grown, her partnership and communication strategy, community engagement, and so much more. But before we get started, I'd like to thank the sponsors of my podcast. Hodges University with a campus in Fort Myers. Stay near, go far. They change lives for the better. Trinity Life Foundation Naples, helping at-risk youth through their enrichment program. AVID, that stands for the Associations of Haitians Living Abroad. They just opened an amazing support center right here in the beautiful Fort Myers, where they will help you with immigration support, utility billing, and guess what? English as a second language taught by yours truly. Last but not least, VaxTruths. They just received a grant from the CDC to raise awareness of COVID-19 and vaccine resources in the Black and Brown community. So, guys, like I said, my special guest here, Amy. How are you doing, Amy?
I am wonderful. Thank you for having me.
I am so happy that you're here. I think it's been long overdue. I don't think we've ever done a podcast together.
We haven't. We talked about it, but we haven't done it.
Yes. So before we get started, I want to thank you so much for your support. When I had my grand opening of the first podcast studio, you were there. Also, introduction to the McGregor Clinic. Because of Amy, Grow Your Nonprofit was able to offer diversity, equity, and inclusion training, and we discussed it a little bit, and the program is going great. So thank you so much.
No, thank you. Without your assistance, I don't think our program would be what it is. So we appreciate you as well.
Thank you. I appreciate you. You're always out in the community. I met you at Poetry Night, and you're everywhere I turn around, you're there. So they're really, really lucky to have you.
Hey, that's the heart of community engagement. Mm-hmm. It's being where the people are.
Yeah. And it takes a special person to be a nonprofit, because I worked in government, I worked in for-profit, but once I got into the nonprofit, I really felt like the work I was doing was really making an impact. So
absolutely,
that's really great. So let's start with you telling us about yourself, how you came about working at the McGregor Clinic, and then we'll get into how you're growing the organization through community engagements and partnerships.
Absolutely. So I'm going to take you back because I didn't go to school for this. I actually went to school because I wanted to be a lawyer.
Wow.
That's what I thought I was going to be. And so I went to law school. I did my first year and I hated every minute of it.
Really?
Oh gosh, it was awful. Very, very cutthroat. But it's designed to be that way.
Yeah.
But I realized very quickly that's not who I am. And so I left law school a little bit lost, and a door opened for me to work at the health department. And I fell in love with health. And very quickly, God just kept opening doors, and I was able to grow, and I got into the HIV/AIDS section of the health department, and that opened the door for me to work as a regional minority AIDS coordinator throughout the area. And that was where I met the former CEO, Sharon Murphy, of McGregor Clinic. And we interacted, and I had very, very strong ties in the community. I had a whole network of churches and faith groups that were working with us, and Sharon saw something. We went to a state meeting, and she said that in her agency, which was a medical clinic only at the time, they were really thinking about starting a prevention group, a prevention program, was her exact words. And you get those moments where you're a little cocky in the moment, but you don't really mean anything.
Not you. I can imagine you being cocky.
Now I understand that, it was God ordained, because I said very flippantly, when you're ready to do that, reach out to me and I'll help you do it right.
I understand that. I understand that.
It's just like a little, nudge moment. Yeah. From then, she did reach out to me very shortly after, and I moved into nonprofit from government. While I had loved what I did, this was an opportunity to start from the ground up. So I was literally not fully a department, but I call it a department of one. And I had given a proposal right from the beginning of the things that I had hoped to accomplish within my first year. But again, thanks to strong community engagement and partnerships, which is why networking is so important, I was able to accomplish those things within 6 months.
Oh, wow.
And so very quickly, Sharon saw that I needed a team. And, fast forward, I started in July of 2013. Fast forward to today, I have a team of 7 employees.
Wow.
We have multiple programs that started out with just testing and education. We now have a medical mobile unit that goes out and does testing. We provide education. We do tablings. We do community engagement activities. We build partnerships we have over 100 partners that are condom distribution locations out in the community, because we know that there are people who will never come through our doors because of stigma, fear. But we try to give them the tools they need to survive and be sexually healthy right where they are. And so that's really the heart of what we do. So we have a food pantry, we have a clothes closet, we have community engagement groups, we have support groups, and we have all of these things because somebody said, I want you to start, and just gave me a blanket check basically to say, get out there and make it happen.
You know, I like that the McGregor Clinic started as a medical clinic. Then it kind of ventured into the HIV prevention and treatment. But then you guys take care of other needs of the whole person, because it's a whole person you're dealing with, right?
It is.
So we're talking about the clothes, the mental health piece, and all of that. So I like the comprehensive piece, because I found when I was the executive director of a particular organization, which was a free eye clinic, I had one patient who brought her son in. She said he may not be able to focus today because we have no food at home. And my heart just sank, and I just gave her $50. And then I found myself trying to do more and more and more. I'm like, wait a minute, we're just an eye clinic. So it's hard to not want to help, you know, when you see someone in need. That's amazing. So you talked about partnerships. What types of partnerships do you have with other organizations? Are they complementary to yours? Because the last podcast episode, we talked about collaboration with the new publisher of the Southwest Florida Chronicle newspaper, and that more nonprofits, United Way, a lot of grantors are looking for nonprofits to partner with and collaborate. So tell me about your partnerships and collaborations and how other organizations can do the same.
Well, for us, it's been challenging because while we are a full primary care clinic, our patients are exclusively those individuals living with HIV. And so that kind of sets us apart. And HIV has its own stigma, its own preconceived notions when you mention that it's a clinic that serves people living with HIV. And so some partnerships are more challenging than others. But it is our desire to really work with everyone, because there are so many agencies that can do and provide what we don't, what we cannot, what's beyond our scope. And so for me, partnership goes beyond, even if we offer the same thing, we offer it differently. So I am all about, let's work together. Let's bridge the gap. We are about serving the community. And so it's about the community's needs. If you have something that the people I'm serving need, I'm going to connect them to you. I want to get to know you. I want to pick up the phone. Let's do lunch, so that I am well aware of what you offer, so that when I send somebody to you, I'm able to say to them, hey, go see Tamika, because she can help you do A and B and C and D. I got you for E and F, but I need her to help you with A through D, so that I can get you to that next step. And it really is about what the community needs. That's really what collaboration's all about.
And it's not the thing about nonprofit. You have to come to realize it's not about you. It's about serving the patient or your constituents or whoever you're serving. That's what it's all about. But you know, hopefully we see more than that. Now I see you out in the community everywhere. So how do you find out about all these events?
Oh my gosh, I try to go on Facebook. I will go on Instagram. I make sure that I like, you know, any organization that I'm working with. I make sure I like their page. So I see if they have events. Word of mouth is a big one. So every time I go to a networking event, meaning I'm not tabling, I'm not with the mobile unit, I'm just there to represent the clinic. You know, my job is to get to know people. Oh, you offer that? Oh, let me make sure you have my card. Let me make sure I have your card. And I'm going to always follow up, because again, I want to know, maybe you have an activity happening. You didn't even think of an AIDS service organization being there. But after we talk, you're like, yeah, come on, bring the mobile unit, bring your table. Whatever it is that's going to help the people that we're serving. The other thing is, people find out when you go to these networking events that we actually have the same community in common. We serve the same exact people. And so if we can work together, we can ensure that we're walking them along the continuum of life and making sure they have everything they need. So like, when you were doing your thing and they needed glasses, but they
Yeah.
also needed food.
Yeah.
Well, who was the food partner?
Right.
So that you didn't have to shell out
Right.
$50.
Right,
You know?
right.
And to me, that's what it's all about. So I will go anywhere that I can, of course, within reason, to be there and make sure I get to meet the community.
You know who you remind me of? Remember Sade, Smooth Operator?
Yes.
I don't know why that just came to my head. And I say that to say when I first met you, it was poetry night.
Yes.
And, you know, I sat there, I was there to support a friend. And the way you got up there in poetry night, the way you spoke about HIV and what you guys did, it was just so smooth. I didn't feel like a certain way. I'm like, that was really cool. How smooth, and people were like really receptive about it. And I walked up to you and I introduced myself, and you were like, no, you need to talk to our new CEO.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that was really cool, being outside the box and unorthodox with your message. So with that said, getting a little serious, I know we talked about the community engagement, but the seriousness of the issue, tell me if I'm wrong, is that African Americans and minorities are the hardest hit by new cases of HIV.
Yes.
Why is that? Is a lack of education?
There's a lot of reasons, actually. Lack of education is one. Stigma is a huge one, because we don't want to be associated with that.
Right.
You know, HIV here in the United States is predominantly spread mostly through sexual contact. We don't like to talk about sex.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about sexual health.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about, words that make us uncomfortable. And in this society, it's very taboo. And as long as we're not talking about it, as long as we're not normalizing knowing our status, getting tested, if we're not normalizing that, then it's always, that's not for me, that's for those people.
Right.
And
right.
I hate that term.
I'm sorry, I'm guilty of that, because I've never uttered that, but in my head.
Yes.
Because recently I was I think it was last month, the Haitian Coalition, they had a festival at a church, and it was a clinic from out of town, and they were specifically for HIV. They had a van, and the gentleman said, can I test you for HIV? And I said, oh no. I said, I'm engaged and I'm getting married. He said, did you know that a lot of new cases are people who are married?
That is correct.
And then I got to thinking, I said, well, I'm out here promoting what I promote, and I'm not practicing what I preach, because I tell my kids all the time about, safe sex and stuff. And I was like, you know what, you're right.
Yes.
So I hesitantly took the test, and I was just so nervous, and I was relieved. Of course, it came back negative, but I was scared myself.
And isn't that funny?
I was scared myself. And I'm one partner, at least.
Yes. You were so confident. I don't need that.
I was like, I don't need that. But I said that's hypocritical, because I'm in the nonprofit world, and I preach all of this stuff, and I'm not walking the walk.
That's it. And I say to you, the interesting part was your fear.
Right.
Even though it was a short, because you get your results quickly, which people don't know that.
Yeah.
You get your result, but that fear tells you something, because before the moment that you took the test, you were confident you didn't need it.
Right.
So where did the fear come from? The fear comes from, we've all engaged in things that put us at risk.
Right.
But we don't want to associate with that.
Yeah.
And in the Black community, in the Latino community, that's our biggest thing, because what if?
Yeah.
Who's going to look at me? Who's going to judge me? And instead of thinking, well, what if there's care? There's treatment. There are options. I'm going to be okay. What people don't know, especially in our communities, what people don't know is it's a fully chronic manageable disease. Nobody dies from this anymore.
Yeah.
People with HIV die, but they die from all these other things. Right. They're not dying because of the HIV, because treatment is amazing, care is amazing, and places like McGregor, who treat the entire person. We're not the only ones out there. We care about you. It's not about your status. We need to know your status to treat you, but it's about you, the individual.
Yeah, and I think what convinced me is not only I was not walking the walk, the education, because I thought I knew what PrEP was, and he explained what PrEP was. Excellent. It's like, if you don't have HIV, it's to help prevent it from spreading. And I was like, PrEP, that makes sense. And then he explained all the treatment. And I've seen Magic Johnson. I mean, everyone's seen how he's thriving, and he's still, and how you can become undetectable. That's right. And how it's really, they want you to stop the spread. Exactly. Because, we don't have to. We have so many resources. It's come a long way.
Absolutely. It's 100% preventable.
Yeah.
100%. And when I tell people that, they look at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, I can teach you all of the tools to completely, 100%. You will not acquire HIV, even if you continue to engage in the same behaviors.
Wow.
We can guarantee that you're not going to get it if you do what we're telling you and you layer on these prevention tools.
Yeah.
But again, we have to be able to talk freely about these issues, and we're not there yet.
Yeah. You know, I have a 23-year-old daughter, and I have a 19-year-old son. And my daughter told me, you know, I talked to her about, you know, safe sex and such. And she said, if you ask a guy to use a condom, they say, well, do you have a disease? So it's a stigma just asking someone to protect themselves.
Yes.
So I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, you have something? I'm like, is that what they're saying?
Unfortunately, yes, it is. But for our women, because women are much more disproportionately impacted than our white counterparts, okay? Black women are the largest group acquiring HIV.
Why?
Well, we're not empowered. One of the things we can tell women is, if your man won't use a male condom, we'll teach you how to use a female condom.
Okay.
And he has no issue with that. So we have the tools to ensure that our women are safe. There's a group, it's just starting, so this podcast is extremely timely. It's called Sisters Organizing to Survive.
Oh, wow.
And it is a movement that started on a statewide level. It started in 2008 because Black women were disproportionately impacted. And it was specific to help Black women become empowered to reach other Black women where they live, work, play, and worship. We are actually reigniting that movement here in Lee County.
That's awesome.
In fact, next month, we're going to be having our very first chapter meeting with community women, not Department of Health, not McGregor, community women who are going to get together and figure out how do we reach other Black women in Southwest Florida to ensure that, at least in Southwest Florida, our Black women are surviving and thriving. And we're working on it.
Yeah. Well, you have a podcast studio here. If you want to use this platform to, I'll be happy to sponsor that for you guys.
Fantastic.
Yes. That's awesome. That's very powerful because you know, I think about when you mention Black women disproportionately affected by it, and I think about not only that, just so many other things. I don't know why we're a population that's always like abused and used, and we do so much to raise our kids and our family and try to give people a good life, and then I don't get it, but that's another podcast.
Well, no self-care. We will care for everyone else except ourselves.
Yeah, we have to stop that. But, you know, education, you know, your network of people, trusted voices.
Absolutely.
That's very important. So, Amy, can you please share with our audience, if someone wants to follow up with you or get care or even be tested for HIV, how could they reach you and the McGregor Clinic?
The best way, the number one way, is to just call us. So you can reach my office, which is the Community Service Building. It's 239-208-8035. That is the number directly to the Prevention, Education, and Outreach Department. So you can call. You can even ask for me directly, and they will put you right to my line. You can always come to our office, 2070 Carroll Road, Suite B. Right here in Fort Myers, we're located just off of US 41, right behind a big Walgreens. That's on 41. We would love to engage with people. We want everyone to know their status. So reach out to us. And if you just want to check us out, www.mcgregorclinic.org.
Thank you so much, Amy, for your time, your talent, and what you do for the community. We really appreciate it, and we're so blessed to have you.
I am honored to serve this community, so thank you.
You're welcome. Guys, you heard it here first. Another amazing nonprofit right here in the beautiful Southwest Florida, making a difference in the community, not only through partnerships, collaborations, but also caring for the whole person. And I'm really excited about this and new initiatives. So stay tuned for more Grow Your Nonprofit podcast episodes.